What's going on YouTube? It's your boy W Wormy, and if you haven't been paying attention, Amazon's Rings of Power started airing roughly last Thursday, and they came out the gate with their first 3 episodes. That's right, as of last Thursday, there are 3 god-awful episodes of Rings of Power being aired over on Amazon Prime. And for those of you that don't remember, when it actually came to last season in regards to Rings of Power, it was a failure. Lord of the Rings of Power fails to break into the top 15 streaming programs of 2022, isn't even most streamed Prime Video series. This show barely saw any actual viewership when you actually broke down the numbers. It was an abysmal failure. And it got reported by the Hollywood Reporter roughly last year that when people started actually breaking down the numbers even further, they only saw 37% of their starting audience come through and finish off the series at all. That means that they saw a 63% viewership drop when it came to the actual people engaging with the show and deciding to sit down and actually watch the show from start to finish. What they also saw was a downturn in viewership data. When we come over here to this Twitter account here, Mac, he actually shows you screenshots of the actual viewership numbers for Rings of Power. When we come over here, we could see the first 2 episodes from season 1 saw roughly 1,253 million minutes watched. And by comparison, when you compare that to Reacher's episode 11, that saw 1,687 million minutes watched. And when we come over here, we could just see a continual downturn for viewership numbers when it came to the second week of Rings of Power airing. It lost roughly 50 million minutes watched versus week 1 to week 2, and as the weeks went on, we saw even more time slipping away as more people decided they weren't going to be watching. And then it was started being reported that with the start of the second season, which they aired 3 episodes instead of 2, they are already seeing a downturn in viewership. When you actually come over here to the actual IMDb page, you can see there's already viewership ticking away, viewership ticking away, viewership ticking away, as less and less people are reporting and actually giving their thoughts and views on each episode. You would think that because, hey, here's 3 episodes at the gate, at least they would have relatively the same amount of numbers, if not plus or minus 1 or 2,000 here or there. A small differential in between each and every single one. But what we see is a massive drop-off actually in between each episode. When you come over here, you see 3.38k thousand people actually reviewed this one, 2.2k people actually reviewed this one, and 1.8k individuals actually reviewed the last episode. When you see that roughly 2,000 individuals decided not to watch in between episodes 1 and episode 3 of the latest season put out by Amazon Prime. And when we come over here, the Valiant Renegade, utilizing Samba TV data, which by the way can only be tracked against other Samba TV data, we see a massive decline in interest with this show. When we come over here to what we actually saw, according to Samba TV, 902,000 US households watched the first episode of Rings of Power Season 2 on Amazon Prime Video over its first 5 days. Now, to be even more clear, that encompasses 3 episodes. That does not break down each individual episode. That encompasses 3 episodes altogether. By comparison, when we come over here to the first 2 episodes of season 1, they had a 1.8 million households watching. Okay, so already out the gate, you have 2 groups of inflated numbers. Season 1 having 2 episodes out the gate, having 1.8 million people watch. So if you're generous with that math, hey, here, you know what? We'll be kind. We're gonna pull up Mr. Calculator here, okay? We'll take roughly the correct number in order to actually show you how many people maybe watched each individual episode, and we'll be kind and we'll divide that by half. That means roughly 900 households watched both episodes back to back. Okay, we'll just be very kind and generous and say that's how much it did. We'll split the number in half, put them together. That's how we got that. Okay, we're being generous here. Okay, very 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 generous. And when we come back over here, okay, we're being generous. We're playing the generosity game. We will take the 902,000 And now we got to divide that by 3. That means roughly, again, being generous, 300,000, well, 300,700. Let's be super nice here because we're going to round that up to 700. I'm being very generous here. 300,700 households watched each individual episode, as then they merged them all together for one big number that doesn't even compare to season 1, which was already a disaster for your first season. You generally see maybe a downturn in viewership between season to season, especially right now since it's taking 2 years in between each season. This type of downturn, when all we've been seeing is viewership continuing to get lower and lower over last season, and when it comes to the season premiere of season 2, which again had 3 episodes out the gate on day 1, you're seeing a massive disparagement in between viewership data. This is yet just another massive failure for Amazon Prime and for Rings of Power as a whole, as true Tolkien fans, actual Tolkien fans, are running around laughing at it. And I do want to point out what Jeremy says right here, because I think this is very apt for a lot of these discussions. But I was told hate watching YouTubers only helps these shows. Always remember that, guys. Yes, Rings of Power got a second season, contractually obligated to get a second season. They're roughly contractually obligated to get, I want to say, 5 seasons, with viewership dropping season over season, episode over episode. But the more we talk about it, the more people are saying, you know what? In a landscape filled with content now, and a landscape where I don't have to sit down and be forced to watch one of 3 channels. I can go to one of these millions of different channels. I could go watch YouTubers. I could go watch streamers. I could go do anything else with my time. Talking about garbage content actually doesn't help the garbage content. It only hurts it and informs people that, hey, there's other stuff to go watch, and I don't have to spend my time watching this garbage content. That's the best part about this. I'm going to leave it there. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it up, friends, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video go live, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.